Plague doctors, are they all that bad? In this video I'm going to be debunking the history of the plague doctor. I'll be going on about the myths and the claims of what this trend is going on about. In all essence, is it worth the hype, or is this like another killer clowns? We just don't know, but I'm going to go in the detail so you don't have to. The term plague doctor was to associate around the influx of the bubonic plague in the 17th century, but it was more prominent in the 14th century. But with the plague doctors, it was more or less formed by the French inventor Charles Delorme in 1617 in Paris, where he designed the suit to affiliate the plague doctors, where they would go around sick areas to help the people who can't afford the right treatment. In the earliest stages, they were seen as professions of doctors who lacked medical experience, especially in France and the Netherlands, and they were seen as to be called as empirics. Main popular prominence of when the plague doctors became more relevant was in the plague outbreak in Italy of the 1656 to 1657 outbreak. In Italy was when the bubonic plague travelled from China to the Sicily Garda ships, and it spread like wildfire, going to cities such as Naples, Genoa and Rome, infecting the near enough population, and in between 200,000 to 400,000 people died from the bubonic plague. You're thinking, what does this have to do with the plague doctors? Well, I'll tell you now. The plague doctors were there to bring that feel of impending death. They were there to insinuate and to help the poor, as they weren't able to afford medical attention, so they would come with their quack techniques to try and bring some clarity to their health. The plague doctor was prominent for wearing either all black leather with the waistband tied in, with his trusty cane, not touch the sick people, and his profound long-nosed beak-like mask to try and keep out the evil smells, which was known as miasma. They would go mainly up to the poor people, and they would try and help them by going up to the clotted spots on their arm where they've been basically infected by the bubonic plague, and they would use techniques such as bloodletting, which would be taking the blood out of the sores, leeches to suck the bad blood out. You may be thinking, how does this intertwine with how we should stop the plague doctors in modern society? More prominently, over the past week, there has been sightings in Scotland, Grimsby, Edmonton and Darlington about the influx and the amount of signs and seeings of the plague doctors. But you may be thinking, what is all the hype around these sightings of the plague doctors? Well, let's put two and two together. Global pandemic and a plague doctor. There's been an abundance of deaths from the pandemic, and the plague doctor insinuates and represents impending death. But in all essence, this is a serious matter. There has been cases and news articles where people who are dressed as plague doctors have been acting like they are sick or they're in peril, and they would try and lure in people to try and help them. They would either scare them, physically attack them, or they would either stab them, or in some cases sexually assault, and it's more prominent for the females. The phrase "a picture can paint 1,000 words" is so mad in this day and age, and I'm not going to talk about this, but I'm going to put this on the screen now. It's an article from a place in Scotland called Falkirk, and they talk about what these can be about. what is all the fuss about with the plague doctors and this mass influx of them, the sightings being around Scotland, Edmonton, Grimsby, and near enough around the country, starting to pop up? It's the fact that the proof is in the pudding. It's in black and white. The fact that people have experienced that kind of brutality in a verbal or physical manner, and it goes to show that we cannot treat this lightly in this day and age where there's a lot still going on. We've got the deadly virus, which people may think is a hoax. If you want to see it in the last video, it's on the screen now. But also, a couple of years ago, if you cast your minds back to 2017-18, when the killer clown trend, no one took it seriously at first. When more and more of it happened, people started to, because they realised, well, we can't sleep on this. We need to, look at it. And that is the conclusion to the video on why we need to stop the plague doctors. I digged into the history, I digged out the facts from video evidence, and we came to the conclusion that we need to stop them. Although the trend is small, it will slightly progress through time. But in the meantime, people, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all later.